If you're anything like me, you've probably spent countless hours picking out the perfect guitar or guitars. You've been to every guitar shop within a 200-mile radius of your house, and you've been everywhere on the internet, including the deepest, darkest places you never thought you'd go. You've also talked anybody's ear off who's willing to give you the time of day. But when it comes time to play your beautiful instrument, you probably just grab whatever pick happens to be in your pocket or in the bottom of the dryer or wherever your picks happen to be. That used to be me. I never gave my pick a second thought. Once I found one I liked, I settled on it, and I almost couldn't even play the guitar if I didn't have my favorite pick. I watched this video a couple years ago where Tom Bukovac is interviewing Brian Sutton in a recording session, and he's talking about how he uses all kinds of different picks, and he brings all sorts of picks to every session with him because they all sound different. I literally paused that video midway through, got in my car, went to the music store and bought every pick I could, immediately came home and recorded each one of them to see how much of a difference there was, and I was actually quite surprised. In this video, we're going to talk about 3 factors: how you hold your pick, the thickness of it, and the material that it's made out of. When I'm teaching someone to use a pick, my general rule of thumb is to show them that you should make a T with your thumb on one side, run your index finger roughly parallel with the edge on the other side, and then you shouldn't have too much pick showing because that's just going to get in the way. I like to tell people that you should actually hold it probably a little bit looser than you think, and then if you drop it the odd time, you're actually doing it right. A lot of us have and may continue to go through our guitar playing lives holding our picks just like that and never giving it a second thought. You can actually really alter the tone just by switching the way you hold your pick to using the slightly duller edge. It takes a little bit of getting used to switch the pick around because it does have a whole different feel, but it opens up a world of other tonal possibilities. The biggest difference to my ears is that when you're using the point of the pick versus the rounded edge, the point is a lot brighter. I actually kind of like the sound of the dull edge, and I also find it actually gives me a little bit more control when I'm picking. Sometimes the pointy edge can get caught up, and I find that by using the more rounded edge, my picking is a lot smoother and I can actually pick faster and have it sound better. The next thing to consider is how thick the pick is. I was just using an 85mm pick, which for me is kind of like right in the middle of the road. It's not too heavy, it's not too light, and if I'm doing a combination of picking and strumming and I don't want to have to be changing my picks, that's kind of where I tend to go to. When I'm in the studio, I tend to gravitate towards a heavier pick for playing single note lines or lead lines, and something a little bit lighter when I'm strumming. As a general rule of thumb, a thicker pick's going to give you a little bit of a bigger sound, while a thinner pick's going to give you, well, a bit of a thinner sound. The thinner pick to me sounds a little bit more compressed, everything's a little bit more even, and it's definitely brighter. I tend to gravitate towards that if it's going to be a busy mix and I really want to hear the strumming of the acoustic guitar. And then the thicker pick has a little bit more oomph, a little bit more bass response, and I also find I have a little bit more control when I'm picking. So let's hear the difference between 3 different thicknesses of picks. The third variable is the material of the pick or the specific pick itself. I've got picks ranging from 50 cents to $40 here, and the more expensive one being this D'Addario casein pick. We're going to compare 6 picks. We're going to start with the Durolin pick again as our baseline, then I've got a D'Addario Cortex pick, I've got a Dunlop nylon pick, a Dunlop flow pick, I've got a Graphtec pick, which I think is really interesting, and then we're going to end it with the more expensive D'Addario casein pick. crazy. I know I'm going to take a lot of flack for this, but this Tusk pick is like a Jazz 3 style pick, the little tiny pick. I know everybody loves them. I don't know how in the world anybody plays with one of these picks. I literally cannot hold it in my fingers. It wants to constantly fall out, but if you like it, that's cool. Now, the point of this whole thing was not to say one pick is better than the other. I also don't think that more expensive picks are necessarily better than cheaper picks. Yes, they last longer, the blue chip picks and these D'Addario casing picks never wear, but the big problem is we lose guitar picks. I can speak from personal experience having lost a $100 guitar pick. The whole point here is just to shed some light on the fact that it really makes a difference, and I think it's the cheapest and easiest way to alter your guitar tone, and it's something that's often really overlooked. This whole video, I've been playing this beautiful Yamaha FGX3, and if you want to learn more about it, click right here to check out my review and how this stacks up against my other high-end acoustic guitars. As always, guys, thank you so much for your time and attention in such a noisy world, and I hope you get out there and make some music.